Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And that's it, the end of Revenge of Gamerathon. But if you want to help me with, Decker, concentrate on the review. Let's take a look at something I haven't done in a while. An action movie from the 90s. Filmed in America, I mean. And as long as I'm at it, why not take another look at our good friend Jean-Claude Van Damme? After all, it's been a fucking long time since I last reviewed one of his movies, but on the plus side, I get to review the first Hollywood production of famed director John Woo. A well-known action movie director from Hong Kong, Woo was recognizable, but not trusted in Hollywood yet, as of course he had yet to make a film stateside. So, using his bag of directorial tricks and half the title of his last film, Hard Boiled, we got Hard Target in 1993. Originally slated to star Kurt Russell, though they ended up with Jean-Claude Van Damme. This change likely caused the film to end up drastically different than originally planned. For two reasons. One, Van Damme didn't take direction well at all, and would do fights his own way despite Woo's frequent protests. Two, it's said that this film was actually supposed to be more focused on Lance Henrikson as the villain, but legend speaks of Van Damme locking him and another in the editing room for 2 days, restructuring the film so that JCVD was unambiguously the starring role. Which I can't confirm 100%, but considering Van Damme did finish editing Bloodsport by himself, he certainly had the know-how. But never mind all of these unsubstantiated claims, let's take a look at Hard Target and see just what John Woo had to deal with. We open to a random chase as the movie's writer, Chuck Farrer, is being pursued by some really harsh film critics. And these guys might be taking that angry reviewer shtick a little too far. But aside from being the writer, Chuck here happens to be Douglas Binder, a homeless veteran. Considering Farrer is also a former Navy SEAL, I'd say he typecast himself. Nevertheless, this hunt is led by none other than Lance Henrikson, playing the role of Emile Fouchon.
If he makes it to the river, he's won. We cannot allow that to happen, Mr. Lopaki.
Yep, the most dangerous game. Yeah, action movies aren't repetitive enough. Let's copy and paste the same plot for the 30th fucking time. Thanks. Lucky for our orange hunter, this game happens to be an idiot, making it to the river, but not taking cover in the bank. No, why not just run down the narrow pier instead? Huh, yeah, that. Well, at least we can count on shitty carpentry to come up with a better strategy than he does. But why drop 5 feet into water? Might get pruned fingers. No, let's just climb back up and... Oh, right. A murderous group of people following you. Don't let this bother you for too long. It's time to move on to Nat, played by Yancy Butler. She rolled into town because, hey, it turns out that Chuck was her estranged father, and she's come to find him. She is really gonna feel bad about her habit of procrastination after this one.
You a friend of Mr. Bender's?
No, I'm his daughter.
Yeah! The hell was that?
He didn't tell you where he was moving, did he?
He owed some rent, honey.
Okay, I know I'm late to the game and finding out that Yancy Butler has a voice that sounds like she smokes 20 boxes of cigars a day, but it's a bit jarring to find out about this as she has a conversation with a woman 3 times her age, who sounds younger. Anyway, she learns nothing here and moves on to a local mission as instructed, running into Elijah Roper, played by Willie Carpenter. As evidently the Binder cunning is a hereditary trait, Roper has to point out the obvious to her.
I'm afraid your daddy, well, he was like the rest of us, out of doors, you know?
He lost all his doors? He's without a roof. Where did his roof go? Bitch, he's homeless! Continuing to show her undeniable brilliance, at least in how to set yourself up as a perfect victim, she flashes a shitload of cash in a not-so-good part of town, resulting in her being targeted for some strange reason.
Hello, pretty lady.
Leave me the hell alone.
We'll take it.
Oh no! If only there was some great big hulking example of manly man to save this meek little woman.
You having fun?
Anytime now. Oh wait, this is our big hero, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme as Chance Boudreaux, the kind-hearted vagrant with a year's supply of hair gel. And a mullet. A greasy mullet? Or long hair so greased up it ends up looking like a mullet? Did this look good in the 90s or something? Wait a minute. No, I remember happened in the 90s. No, it didn't! Unsurprisingly, a fight breaks out, which is not done too badly. As it's John Woo, there's a lot of slow-mo, but on the plus side, that keeps it easy to follow. Now that that's done, Nat can gawk at Van Damme, remembering that ass, so she can track it down later and offer him a job helping her find her father.
I'll pay you $100 a day.
For doing what?
For $100, does it really matter?
100 a day? That's 3,000 a month! That's more than enough to... Wait a minute. Does Creepy keep his pants on? She doesn't bother explaining it, so Chance assumes she's some kind of mafia, drug-dealing, body-smuggling gun baron and instead opts to be a sailorman. This does not go as planned.
Johnson says I was reinstated.
With the company, not with the union. You owe some dues here, boy.
Then, if I had known that, I wouldn't have spent all of my money on hair gel. Therefore, he must take the job with Nat. As this is John Woo directing, we can count on him to showcase this mundane event in the most badass, epic way possible. Thus, she has that help she so desperately needs to go right back to that mission she already checked. Okay, Chance, I know you're getting paid by the day, but that doesn't mean you can just fuck around and waste time. But wait, Roper is there, and he has considerably more information than he had last time, as he found Doug's home, shopping cart, same difference. So we get our touching scene of Nat's fond family memories and... oh. Yeah, sad he forgot to mention those in his letters. However, this isn't a horrifyingly traumatic find, it's a clue. This leads them to Randall Poe, played by Elliot Keener. Or it leads them nowhere, as he denies knowing a thing about the missing man, and their conversation is interrupted by Arnold Vosloo, playing Van Cleef.
We were just leaving.
So, your first day on the job, he went to where she already checked, somehow actually found a clue, followed it, and learned nothing, and then decided to leave. Great detective work there, Cole Phelps.
Look, if you don't want to go back up there, I'll just go back myself.
Hey, if you want to find your daddy, you're gonna have to work smarter, not harder.
Just because you decided not to work hard on this does not automatically mean you're working smarter. But who needs silly investigations when the conclusion can just walk up to you and let you skip ahead to the next plot point?
The identification had to be made from dental charts in your father's service record.
Yep, Daddy's dead, so you can fire Van Damme now. Or not, as despite him being hired to find him and being found and dead, Chance is still on the case, looking for a clue. He finds one when a little bird tells him... No, seriously, it's a fucking bird giving this clue. The dog tank's coming too, numbnuts. So he heads out to the building the corpse was found in to search for the other.
Bingo.
Huh. That was easier than expected. That's better. Random goons beat the shit out of him, but despite having no reason not to kill him, instead just tell him to stop searching and leave town. This somehow leads to him being arrested.
Why did you arrest me for? Getting beat up without a license?
Shit, even Van Damme can come up with apt jokes for this situation. Despite his right to remain silent, he keeps talking, and they immediately forget about those charges they were going to file, as it's a little embarrassing to find out he's come up with clues they've missed. How did you find this? Well, Dove came up with the idea, so I figured, why not? Right. Surprising no one, Randall works for Fuchan, and he's the one who recruits the homeless veterans for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get murdered. And it just so happens that Roper is next in line to play.
You're gonna pay me $100 to fill out a form?
Why would you need him to fill out a form? At what point does a contractual agreement make homicide legal?
I'll fill out the application.
You got any family? Anybody to worry about, your friends, anything like that?
And who exactly doesn't see what's coming after he says something like that? Amazingly enough, Chance tracks him down at the local massage parlor where they actually give massages, through no apparent means. Those details aren't important, but he interrogates Mr. Poe about who sent the goons his way.
Van Cleef! His name was Van Cleef!
Good boy.
An interesting, but mostly useless piece of information. Don't worry though, his location, motives, and boss are not brought up in the slightest, just like that information that Roper is the next contestant on The Price is Death. Something the bad guys didn't plan on is that the detective Murray Mitchell, played by Casey Lemons, is actually wanting a proper investigation to be performed on the case of Douglas Binder's death. So of course the doctor burns all the files, as he was in on it with Lance Henrickson.
Don't you ever knock!
Well, it does make it harder to kill someone. You see, nobody scared for their life would ever... Right. Okay. Never mind Dr. Dumbass. If you were just gonna kill him anyway, then why the fuck did you bother to stop to chat? As things are getting too hairy in New Orleans, Henrickson decides they should move operations somewhere else. Later. First, they've got to complete this final hunt, explaining to Roper and the audience how it works.
This money belt has $10,000 in it. Think of what $10,000 could buy you.
$10,000. I could do a hell of a lot with $10,000. Huh. But would running through this city with a bunch of rich assholes trying to kill me be easier or harder than that Patreon campaign I've already set up?
This money could make you a man again, instead of the shadow of your former self.
That's Decker's Shado, and I feel a hell of a lot better being broke as shit making movie reviews than I ever did working at Kroger. A lot less depressed now.
I get to the river, I get the cash.
Every nickel.
That'd be some shit if they try to have him drag $10,000 worth of nickels. Thus, the hunt is on, and it's kind of hard to outrun the guys while they're following you on motorcycles, and Roper is shot before long. However, contestant 2 is kind of a lily-livered fuckwit and doesn't finish him off right away, allowing the hunted to become the hunter. They could have called this game show Who Wants to Perforate a Millionaire? Of course, they still want him dead, so we get to see him run out into a populated area trying to get help. Naturally, everyone shuns him. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie, to be honest. It's not flashy or exciting, and is actually kind of depressing, which I usually complain about, but what makes it sad is the fact that everyone ignoring the man's cries for help is, unfortunately, a very believable scenario.
Hey, man! Ain't got no change, man!
Or maybe they just don't want to pay the man's hospital bills. If today is any indication, then yes, people really don't give a fuck. Knowing this is a situation he can't win, he at least decides to not spend his last moments running, but standing firm, showing no fear. Not that it really helped him any. Great, now they can't trace that money back to you, I guess. And I'm sure that those dozens of people in the streets that just witnessed this will not squeal because, after all, that would be inconvenient to the plot. Really, it's a total mystery what killed the man, but they do know that he was another one passing out flyers for Randall Poe. Thus, they head over to him for information. Could have saved some time if Van Damme had properly interrogated him earlier, but then we wouldn't get this scene.
Looks like we missed the party.
Okay, do they or do they not want to be found out? Because they just killed someone in front of dozens of witnesses, and then another guy in broad daylight, and now it looks like they're getting ready to do one in front of the police. I mean, for being so secret, these guys really suck at low-key. As the potential targets include Van Damme, his female prize for this movie, and a black female cop, of course she's the one that gets killed.
Let's go.
We can't just leave her here.
He's okay. She was a minor character. No one is going to remember her after this scene. The action sequence continues as we establish that this super-secret group maintains its secrecy as evidently nobody in New Orleans bats an eye at people driving around on motorcycles shooting at each other with SMGs. Or perhaps they're just okay with the fact that everyone's trying to kill Jean-Claude Van Damme. The action is pretty nice overall, with a decent use of multiple locations during a single chase scene. Also, explosions. Just because. Fortunately, Lance Henriksen is stuck in slow motion, giving Van Damme and his prize the opportunity to escape via a convenient train.
It appears we'll have one last hunt after all picked.
Why make it your last? If you can do this much damage to the city in clear view of everyone and not be pursued by the police, you don't need to move. Unfortunately for Chance, the trekker, Van Cleef, strangely enough, actually knows a thing or two about tracking. On top of that, Lance brings along half a dozen millionaire hunters charging $750,000 each just to try to kill Van Damme.
Should one of you be lucky enough to bring him down, I'll consider that hunter's account paid in full.
Excuse me, sir, but wouldn't winning then be about the same as not participating? In the meantime, Chance is escorting the meek, helpless woman who can't take all this damn walking, but they share a moment by the tree to remember for the ages. Punch him! Good thing that's obviously a puppet. both in the fact that he didn't actually hurt a real snake, and also there's the detail that if you're holding them that far back from the head, yeah, they can still bite you. Even better, he crafts the snake into a trap, which after all the over-the-top gunplay and awesome explosions, looks stupid as shit. This gives Chance the chance to meet up with his Uncle Duvet, played by Wilford Brimley. Wilford Brimley?
Ha ha! Sometime I made myself beat.
Okay, I have to do it. Hey, Wilford, you know what that shine might eventually get you?
Diabetes.
Nevertheless, Duvet patches Chance up, and happens to be perfectly fine with the fact that there's a large group of armed men coming his way to kill him. In fact, he has an old friend that he thinks can help. Okay, you do realize that guns need cleaning, right? This one probably needs some parts replaced by now. Who cares about any of that? This is an action movie. Guns always work, and never run out of ammo unless the plot says so. Thus, Van Damme heads out to enjoy Act 3 on his own, while Wilford and Nat stay behind, which of course means they are the first ones that the big nasty group of undetectable murderers happen to find.
Have a good day.
You may wonder why the decrepit drunk decided to open fire on the group after successfully slipping away. Simple. Explosions. They ride off unpursued, and Brimley's bow unstrings itself, but Lance is more interested in tracking down the one they came here to kill, not miscellaneous people who know what they are doing and should therefore be killed to keep it under wraps, and who cares. They chase him in a helicopter, and the grass explodes. Because explosions. The detonating foliage is enough to spook the horse, leading to Van Damme taking refuge in an abandoned industrial area. It's got a pretty nice well-shot setup to what's going to be one hell of a long action sequence leading into the climax, and what better way to start it off than with an explosion? And the kicking the gas can trick shot thing was kinda nice too, but hey, explosions! As things start off, a convenient explosion reveals a secret area. Now wait a minute. I got this. This just so happens to lead directly into a warehouse full of old Mardi Gras floats. Because it's New Orleans. Hey, wait a minute. When is Mardi Gras? Yesterday. Well, that's convenient. And it works to keep the climax a hell of a lot more visually entertaining. Not only that, but as luck would have it, Mardi Gras floats are built out of the most incendiary material on the planet. Okay, bright colors, fire everywhere, Van Damme, Lance Henrickson. This climax is looking pretty awesome.
Good morning. I'm Wilford Brimley, and I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about diabetes.
God damn it. Yeah, instead of running to safety, the two potential victims rush forward into combat. On the plus side, we do get to see Wilford being a badass.
You'll find that life has some wonderful things to offer you.
Not something you see every day. And even that takes a bad guy out. By shooting him in the dick half a dozen times. Okay. Chance? Find another one. It's no surprise, but the action direction is really well done. The combat is varied, and they really use the setting to the fullest. It would help if I gave a damn about more than 4 of the 20 people present, but at least John Woo had the courtesy to make the action scenes explosive, over the top, and easy to follow. It's actually a bit of a feat. Lance is now distraught over the death of Van Cleef, or, as I'd like to put it, a raging hypocrite. Unsurprisingly, Wilford Brimley is wounded and unable to help, and wouldn't you know it, Nat just so happens to get caught by the bad guy and held hostage in a standoff between Lance and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Imagine that!
Put the weapon down.
Not gonna make that much of a difference. Despite the fact that John Woo tried desperately to get Van Damme to use the guns, the man just wouldn't stop kicking everyone. Of course, he complies, and still has the opportunity to rush 50 feet to get there before Lance shoots, as the men are stuck in slow motion yet again. After a short scuffle, we get our one-liner before the kill.
Hunting season is over.
Never mind, he and Nat are gonna get along just swimmingly. On top of that, despite Lance having more than enough time to just throw the damn grenade elsewhere, he instead decides to unscrew and defuse it. Guess how well that works for him. Sure, fuses don't spark like that in real life, but you have to understand. Explosions. Thus, our story comes to a close, with Wilfred Brimley giving a quick review of the movie.
Now this real catastrophe. This real bad.
Yeah, real bad.
Hey, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not that good, but it's entertaining. Hard Target is an interesting beast. I know it was John Woo's first shot at directing in Hollywood, and he might not have been able to pull all the strings to get the best he could in all departments, but actually, the budget, cast, acting, and locations were all pretty damn good. Where this movie suffered was the script itself. Yeah, it's the most dangerous game for the umpteenth time. That's about enough sign right there, but there really isn't that much it does to set itself apart from the pack either. It's set in New Orleans. That's about it. It's done well, don't get me wrong, but it's like a really good basket of fries. Might be memorable, but it's certainly not going to be life-changing. On the overall balance of the film, it worked for what it was, but it did feel like they skimped on the characterization of the bad guys. Not just Lance, and let the rumor slide for now, but the millionaire hunters. There's over a dozen of them, and we only get to learn details about one. The one that got killed off minutes after being introduced. Yay. Overall, Hard Target is not an easy movie to rate. It's got great performances from most of the cast, except Van Damme, who is simply adequate. It's got a crap plot we've seen far too many times, but fantastic direction that keeps the audience engaged despite that. It's an action movie for fans of action movies, but nothing else really, coming in at 3 exploding Mardi Gras floats out of 5. Because explosions! Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, you can do a lot with $10,000.
God, why did he go fishing?